The most important day for Honda in 2023 may well happen in 2022. It could be at the Tuesday test here on, here in Valencia, where Honda will be throwing new parts at Marc Marquez like confetti at a wedding, I'm sure, because they have to, as Simon said, get some clear information, clear feedback on some new parts, go away in the winter and hopefully roll out something that's significantly better for Marc when he's jumping back on the motorcycle in mid-February.
And the other guys who had a tough year this year, KTM, I get the feeling that they've been working quite different than the year before. Well, they obviously have, because 21 they were the kings of new hardware. There was new chassis and new aero and new all sorts getting thrown at the bike all the time, and this year it's been the opposite. Like, they've squeezed everything out of what they've already got, and I believe by doing that, worked on what they've already got so hard, they've found directions on where to go. And I think Tuesday they're going to turn up with something pretty cool. And I've been saying since Silverstone that when I spotted those Red Bull Formula One aero guys in the KTM garage, that they're going to come out with something new aero-wise. So I look forward to see the new KTM on Tuesday. Yeah, we really are looking forward to seeing that new KTM. And one man who'll be on that new RC16 will be Jack Miller. And right on cue, the Australian now leads here on Free Practice Friday in Valencia. He's got down to a 1:36.08. As we predicted, every rider has gone out on circuit now, lapping this 4-kilometre Ricardo Tormo circuit on a new soft rear tyre, trying to find that place in the top 10 in case we do get adverse weather conditions tomorrow. Highly unlikely given the positive weather forecast we do have, as Aleix Espargaro fires the factory Aprilia up into second place. Miller then is the only rider on day one here in the season finale that's found a sub 131 lap. That's put Miller nearly half a second clear of Aleix Espargaro. Turn 13 on a soft tyre normally gives us these jaw-dropping shots. This is why we love this Valencia circuit. Turn 13, I bet our guys in the IPF, our guys and girls, are fighting for that camera coming through turn 13, because it's just such an amazing shot. The rear tyre being pushed to the absolute limit as the very best in the world fire through that high-speed turn 13. You're up to about 200 kilometers an hour just before the braking zone in fourth gear. One of the best corners on the entire Grand Prix calendar. One man who was a master going through there, wasn't he? Back in the day was the late, great Nicky Hayden. Who can forget that unforgettable 2006 rather, MotoGP World Championship, where he pinched it from Valentino Rossi in that last round. Decided Luca Marini then back in P1. It's been a superb start to the final race here for the Italian. A 1:32.17. It's a great time by Marini. Puts him nearly 3.5 tenths clear of Marquez now, who's in second. What can Fabio Quartararo do in response? The world champion's been pushed back down to 9th, but he fires himself back up inside that top 5. Quartararo 4th. And here comes Bagnaia and the Beast. The Ducati lineup, the mouth-watering Ducati lineup in their factory team next season. You do wonder whether there's going to be a lot of love lost between those two next season. A big rivalry potentially emerging between the two top dog Italians. We ride on board them with Bagnaia. He just lost a bit of time in that third sector now. He cuts through the third gear, turn 12, and then he flicks it left through this magnificent turn 13. The 200 kilometers an hour sweep through there, then down back 2 gears into second gear for this 80 kilometers an hour turn 14, and then really show off the strength and power of the factory Ducati, clicking all the way up to top gear. Still doing well, about 335 kilometers top speed on the factory Ducatis down the start-finish straight here, as Bastianini does go up into third. Bagnaia 4th. We have Ducatis then locking out the top 4 places. Marini, Martin, Bastianini and Bagnaia, they are your top 4. And Binder in 5th, what a time. That's impressive.
Jack Miller now makes it 3 Ducatis in the top 3. Marc Marquez is on a good run of form late on here in FP2. He's up to 4th place. Fabio Quartararo at the moment then pushing that Yamaha to its absolute limit. 8th place right now for him. He gets himself back in the top 6 with a 1:34.42. There are less than a quarter of a second right now covering the top 7 men in the final 40 seconds of this second session. It's Marini, Martin Miller, Marc Marquez, Bastianini, Quartararo and Bagnaia split by just over 2/10.
Marquez again being awesome, you know, to force that thing on a one-off lap into a zone where nobody else can push it. Even he says over race distance it's not possible, but for a one-off lap he can do it.
Yeah, you can do it for one lap, you can't do it for more than 20. That's been the problem, hasn't it, of late for Marc Marquez. It was a long, brutal, tough old race for him in Japan, but he stayed on board, got the crucial data information for Honda. Miguel Oliveira then now on his KTM farewell. That's more likely from the Portuguese man, up into 6th place with a 1:30.422. Joan Zarco's 10th and not even half a second away from top spot. Checkered flag is out then. Free practice Friday, done and dusted here at the Motul Grand Prix of Valencia, and it looks like it will be advantage Ducati and advantage Luca Marini. Ducati won't care if Luca Marini wins his first Grand Prix MotoGP on Sunday, because if he does, it means that whatever happens, Pecco Bagnaia can be sat in the garage and he'll still be MotoGP world champion. We remind you, we're going to sound like broken records, aren't we? But we have to make this point. Fabio Quartararo has to win the race here on Sunday. That is the only scenario where he can regain the MotoGP World Championship this year. Quartararo ends FP2 in 7th place. His best work, a 1:34.42. Good effort that by Quartararo. He's nearly a full second quicker than what he managed this morning. Late charge coming in from Aleix Espargaro, who was an early faller at turn 5 on the factory Aprilia. Over the line, Aleix Espargaro comes, not good enough for the top 10. In fact, both Aprilias at the end of play on Friday in Valencia. 12th and 13th, Vinales and Aleix Espargaro, respectively. Hasn't been the start to their farewell weekend that Suzuki would have been hoping for. Alex Rins 11th and Joan Mir 14th. Zarco finds some late speed and goes into 7th place. That's nudged Quartararo then back to 8th.
Both KTMs in the top 10 at this stage is pretty impressive.
Yeah, looking further down the rankings, Aleix Espargaro, who's in that intense dogfight for 3rd place in the championship with Bastianini. Jack Miller, of course, is still in the hunt, a remote hunt to be 3rd in the World Championship.